Hi, welcome to Crime Theory Exchange, Episode 5. Today, we are going to be discussing true crime, what we think it is, how we got started in true crime personally, and how we think it has helped or hurt the criminal justice process as a whole. Jax is under the weather, and we all hope that he is feeling better. So we're going to kind of wing it and just have everybody chit chat. And I want to take a second and let everybody say hi, and we'll go from there. Becca?
Hello.
Hi, Becca. Linda?
Hey, everybody.
Susan?
Hello, everyone.
Rhonda?
Hello, everybody.
And I'm Christina, also known as Sunshine Christina. And I guess I'm going to, I guess I'm going to be hosting this today. We'll see how that goes. So I was looking last night, just kind of trying to figure out something to talk about. And I decided true crime would be interesting because there are just, when hundreds of podcasts and bloggers and TikTok personalities and Instagram personalities and Facebook groups dedicated and apps for your phone dedicated to true crime. And I was like, well, when did this start? And so, according to Google, true crime is a genre that explores real life crimes such as murders and serial killings. Watching, reading, or listening to true crime can be a safe way to feel and process negative emotions. True crime only reflects a small percentage of the worst real crimes, though. And the first documented true crime story was written, I think it was in 1635. So over almost 400 years ago. And it was written by a guy named John Reynolds, and it was called The Triumph of God's Revenge Against the Crying and Execrable Sin of Murder. Don't ask me what it's about, but that's considered the first true crime account. So, that being said, I figured today we'll just discuss like how we all got here to this podcast, to the foul play making a murderer community, to just wanting to learn more about true crime in general, wrongful convictions, and and what was the catalyst for that. So does anybody want to talk about that?
Well, maybe we should let Zoe say hi too.
Zoe asked not to talk.
Oh, geez. Then I embarrassed myself, didn't I? Oh, well,
It's
it won't be
okay.
the first time.
Hi everyone. I can say hi, but I'd rather not speak a lot.
Okay. That's the only reason I ignored you, Zoe. Zoe is the streaming mastermind behind this production. But that's the only reason I didn't say her name. So I apologize if you wanted to say hi, Zoe. So
No, just leave it to me to put my foot in my mouth. That's all.
Always good.
Not the first time.
normally that's my job. So how did you get your start in true crime, Linda?
Oh gosh, making a murder. I have to say that it was the first time that it infuriated me enough to want to make a voice or have a voice in it and find out why something like that was happening in this day and age. And then it, of course, just led me into all of the wrongful convictions that I see that I just was completely blinded by. So I think it was just pure angst that this kind of stuff still goes on and that they could convict somebody twice wrongfully, and then in bringing Brendan into it, it just made me mad. So I guess I just had to find a place to be. And I found all of you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So did you have a YouTube channel prior to Making a Murderer? And did it kind of just, you
No,
did?
I did not. No, no, no,
Oh,
no.
look.
I never in a million years did I ever think I would be letting the world see me speak about something like this. No, I was a person that was, I guess you'd say, turn a blind eye to all of this stuff, just kind of went, okay, I guess that goes on, what can I do about it? Type
Hmm.
attitude. Like the majority of the world, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And Eric Cozy is the one that encouraged me. And what encouraged me to even have a YouTube was all of you. So I've always been interested in why all of you do this. So that's basically what my YouTube channel was built on. People like you do research and everybody behind the scenes of what I was seeing. So that's where that came from.
Okay. Anybody else? Becca, where'd you get your start? What brought you to true crime?
I've always been interested in true crime since even I was a kid. I used to read up on things like serial killers and stuff, and I really enjoyed true crime documentaries growing up, and then not necessarily because of what the people, but I guess it's more like the psychology of what drove a person to do what they did.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always been really into true crime and all that. And it wasn't, but as far as like the wrongful conviction part of it, I grew up thinking if you were caught, and you went to trial and you were convicted, then you had your fair shot and you must be guilty if you were found guilty. And I didn't think that there were wrongful convictions up until Making a Murder when that came out. Um, I watched the first episode of Making a Murder and I thought it was just I thought it was going to be a series of multiple people. I didn't think it was going to be just this one person with his nephew. Um, 'Cause I didn't understand the assignment, but once I actually started watching it, and yeah, and then uh, Brendan's story is the first story, and Stephen's story was the first story I ever heard of. So I never even knew that could be a thing. I thought the system was set up to prevent that, and boy, was I wrong. So, but yeah, Making a Murder was the first, and that was the first time I even knew about Facebook groups with Making a Murderer. The first family group back in 2016, that was the first Facebook group I've ever joined. I didn't even know that was a thing. And yeah, all of this is very still new to me. Every day I'm learning new things about wrongful convictions and just trying to be involved and do what I can to help Brendan and other people. And yeah.
Yeah, and you and Linda do such a great job of that too. I
But
think.
we really try,
Mhm.
Um, we a lot of times we're winging it and we do the best we can, and but we do a good job, like you said. I think we do, and I'm proud of what we've done. I
Yeah,
never, like what Linda said, I never thought in a million years I would have a YouTube channel
yeah,
or anything, much less for Brendan.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I know I'm very proud of my bumper sticker that I got from you guys. So,
yeah,
yeah,
which I
made
still
it.
have a bunch of bumper stickers left. If anybody wants one, let me know.
Yeah,
Mhm.
shameless plug.
Yeah. Well, that being said, send a link to Zoe and we'll put it in the description box. I think they're that's $3.50. And that includes shipping and handling. And you can't beat that. It's a bumper sticker. It's really cute. And it just says free Brendan Dassey.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, thank you.
I personally would like the same opportunity for a bumper sticker for Stephen Avery.
Right.
Yeah.
And
So
a lot of people say that it's like, you should do more for Stephen too. And it's not that I don't want to. It's there's a lot more politics behind it.
yeah, and
Um,
that's the issue with that unfortunately. So maybe somebody watching this video who does have bumper stickers or has an idea for one, maybe this can help them, to do that, because it's not a lot of money. All the money goes, I think most of the money goes straight to Brendan anyway for the bumper sticker.
For every bumper sticker sold for $3.50, $3 of it goes to Brendan. The 50 cents is for shipping. So
yeah, and you can't beat that. So I mean, that is basically Becca giving all of her time and energy and not charging a penny, and and we get to help bring awareness to Brendan's plight. So that's, you can't argue with that.
And like I said, there's a lot of politics behind why I don't do a lot of these same stuff for Stephen. But like, if anybody who is close to Stephen, who talks to Stephen, message me and I can tell you, what I do and how I do it and help you through it. It's not what I do for Brendan isn't impossible to do. It's everything.
For sure.
Just saying.
So, yep. Shameless plug, and definitely well needed and well appreciated for sure. So, Susan, how did you get into true crime?
Well, my story is much like Becca's. I mean, I've always been interested in true crime, fascinated by serial killers and the psychology behind that. What goes on in a human's brain that they can act in such a way and kill other people. And, so I've always done that. And of course, the same with Ma'am, it just infuriated me after watching it and, led me here basically.
Now, did you watch it when it first came out as well? Because y'all have all been here since the beginning, I think, right?
I didn't see it until July of 2016. It had been out about 6 months or so.
Okay. Yeah.
And I came into foul play. I think I joined Facebook groups and that sort of thing. And I came into foul play in December of 16, I believe it was. I wrote a song.
Did you?
What's it called?
It's a great song. I love it.
What's it called, Linda? The 12 days of
12
planting.
days of
12 days of planting, I think.
Yep.
Something like that.
I've never heard it.
We'll have to bring that out soon.
Yes, definitely.
It's on YouTube somewhere.
Okay.
But that was my first day on foul play. I just had these lyrics going through my mind, and that's the first day I joined and kind of threw it on the wall with everybody. And they're like, "Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Do it." So then I got off, and a couple hours later I had the song. So anyway.
Man, awesome.
Yeah. It's just, and then, being here and finding out how many wrongful convictions there are in this country and around the world. It's just, it's something I think that is truly worthy to fight for.
Yes, definitely. I agree.
And to spend energy on and just try and bring awareness to as many people as you possibly can.
Yeah, for sure. I think most people, it's that if you don't have interaction with law enforcement, you don't have a reason to think about what could go wrong, right? Because if you're not in a job where you deal with criminals or inmates, or you know what I mean? It's not, I don't want to say it's blissful ignorance, but unless you have a reason to think about it, why would you normally even think it happens? So
right.
Yeah, there's definitely
and that's the value of making a murderer. That it did bring so much light to the subject.
Yes, I agree. Totally,
For sure.
I 100%
And
agree.
all of the true crime series, yeah.
I think all of the true crime series that are there are true stories that are coming out, and I mean, I could name a dozen, and I've seen every one of them, and I'm sure everybody else here has too. But it really brings a lot more people to say, "Wait a minute, what is really going on here?" And that
Yeah.
I think Netflix and all of ID Channel and Discovery, I mean, I've learned so much when it comes to the true crime.
Yeah, and like Smart Duck says, once you open that door, there's no turning back. That is so true. It leads to addiction.
Yes.
Yeah. It does. It does. But I mean, it's addiction in a good way, though. It's funny. Somebody needs to come up with a saying. Somebody posted a meme on one of my plant Facebook groups, and like Becca, I didn't know there was Facebook groups either until Making a Murderer. But they posted a meme, and it says it's not an addiction if it's plants, and we don't talk about the ones that didn't make it. So
Did
we
you
need to
just call it Mimi?
I call memes and
Yeah,
memes.
I call them memes. Remember that now.
Yeah.
Don't nobody laugh.
I used to call it
Mimi.
memes.
I was like, what's going on, guys? Sorry.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. So Rhonda, how did you get your start in true crime?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not involved in true crime at all. I'm in the wrong place.
How did I end up here?
That is the best
How
answer
did I
of the
get
day.
here?
That's the best answer of the day.
You know, I think it kind of started with, as a kid, growing up watching shows like Perry Mason and Columbo and um, all of those kinds of court shows. And I remember watching 12 Angry Men, the original 12 Angry Men. And so I just was really fascinated by how the whole process works in a courtroom and all those kinds of things. And then as I got older, it kind of evolved to now I was paying attention to things on the news that were, being told, talking about serial killers. And like Susan, I am extremely fascinated with serial killers. And I also, uh, I fascinated in the way that I like to try to pick apart what's going on in their brain, in their mind, and like my own little mini sense of profiling, if you will. And so I kind of got to that point, and then when I really, really got involved in the genre itself, if we can call it that, my first true crime case that I really was aware of was uh, oh my goodness, the Black Dahlia.
Oh yeah.
But I didn't really have, when I first learned about it, I didn't have a way or any means. We didn't really have computers yet. And so I didn't have ways of looking it up unless I went to a library or whatever. And stuff like that just didn't occur to me. But um, what really, really set me off on the path of really paying attention and focusing a great deal was the JonBenet Ramsey murder. And I became incredibly fascinated with that case. I read several books, from both sides of the aisle on that. And I just was really, really interested in it. And when I was in college, um, one of my classes was, I studied criminal justice, and one of my classes was Intro to Forensics. And we had to write a paper on DNA, on a case, what's high profile case that, that where forensics could have made a difference or was really important in the case. And I wrote a paper on JonBenet Ramsey case with what knowledge I had. And my professor, when he commented back to me, he said that he was so grateful that somebody chose to write about JonBenet Ramsey the problem, well, the real reason is what he was really saying was, I'm so glad there's somebody in my class old enough to know because, I was in my, oh gosh, early 50s, I suppose, when late 40s when I was there. And so, but he said that he was really fascinated with my opinion or my ideas and things like that I wrote in the paper regarding the forensics in the case, and I got an A+ on the paper. But so
Yeah.
I just kind of went from there, and then when I really was able to realize that I could search things like that on the internet, then that was it. I was done.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
then gosh, it was probably not too long, maybe 5 or 10 years after that. Good God, I'm dating myself here. That I started uh, thinking, gosh, I'd really like to talk about this kind of stuff, and what can I do? And podcasts were just kind of starting to be a thing, or I was just becoming aware of them. And I thought, man, maybe I wonder if I could do that, if I could do a podcast and talk about true crime cases and things like that. And then it wasn't, I didn't catch the making a murder thing until I binge watched the first season about 3 months before season 2 came out.
Okay.
And to that point, the only knowledge I had about the case, and even though I live in Utah, I would still, we could still get glimpses like on World News Tonight or whatever it was that would talk about that case a little bit in Wisconsin. And I remember thinking, oh my God, there's just no way. I just couldn't believe that Stephen Avery had committed this horrible, heinous murder like they talked about. And I thought, no, there's no way. I'm not buying it. He didn't do this. And then when they started talking about Brendan, and started showing Brendan, I was like, oh my God, because honestly, I don't think I had any idea that there was that wrongful, or that false confessions were a thing. And if I did think about it, I didn't think that anybody would, just like everybody else initially, probably, there was no part of my mind that would allow me to think that somebody would admit to doing something they didn't do. And so I just thought, man, these guys are fucking killers, man. They are thick and twisted, and these are some psychological minds I need to start picking in. And then after that, I never paid any attention to it. One of my sons, Eric, said, Mom, have you watched Making a Murderer? And I said, oh my God, no, because everybody was talking about, no, I have no interest in it. These guys are horrible, vile individuals. I'm not interested. And he's like, Mom, you have to. And so anyway, I relentlessly for about 3 months, he nagged at me, and I finally did it. And wow,
Yeah.
just wow. So, and here I am.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we joined the Making a Murderer community around the same time. So true crime for me, I've always been interested in it. Even as a child, I recognized that I had seen some dirty deeds done by cops. So um, I I knew that cops weren't the good guys all the time, right? And I probably have a more jaded view of police than a lot of people because I've just seen some stuff that I never should have had to have seen. And then my cousin um was when I was 26, she was murdered by a serial killer in Portland, Oregon. She was a troubled youth. Her name was Alexandria Isom. I had posted a couple of things in Foul Play on her. Rolling Stone actually did an article on her, and it's in the same magazine cover. It's the same issue that Brad Pitt is in a dress on the cover. and her street name was Tomorrow. She was 17 when she was murdered. She was the last one killed by the man who killed the 3 women. And so I was kind of that kind of, like, you know, like the rest of y'all that were talking about serial killers, I've always been fascinated by them. I grew up about 30 minutes from Florida State Prison. So when Ted Bundy was executed, you know, the joke was the lights flickered in all of Florida to make sure the chair was juicy enough for him. And you know, then the Adam Walsh thing happened here in my town, and my mom, that was like, I can remember the way my mom parenting me changing overnight when he got kidnapped. Like, we weren't allowed to go to the next aisle over. Like, if we went to the grocery store, we weren't allowed to leave her sight, period, from that day forward. And she watched everything on that case, and that was a horrific case. And so I kind of just grew up with true crime, and then Nancy Disgrace, and, you know, listening to all of her lies. And I actually watched, I don't know if y'all, those of you old enough to have done so, if y'all remember the coverage she did on this case, on the Making a Murderer Teresa Halbach investigation while it was going on. But she really helped Ken Kratz and them pull this off. I mean, she just sold it as a rightful conviction. She had everybody convinced Stephen was a psychopath. And I believed her, because why would this woman lie? You know, I respected Nancy Grace, and I hate to say that, but I did. I thought she was a decent human. And come to find out, she's the furthest thing from that. But I've always been fascinated by true crime. I didn't watch Making a Murderer. I had brain surgery. I got my traumatic brain injury right around the time that Making a Murderer came out. And so for the first 2 years after that was kind of like a recovery process for me. And I didn't start actively researching it until the second season. And what got me into it was the fact that Kathleen Zellner was Stephen's attorney, and I had followed the I'm gonna forget the name, the Riley Fox case. And I saw how she was able to take that father's tragedy and prevent it from taking 20 years to correct. And I just have always thought she was an amazing woman and a hell of an attorney. So when she signed on, it kind of gave me an advantage, because I knew that if she was saying Stephen was innocent, then he was innocent. So I didn't have to approach it from the standpoint of, well, let's make sure he didn't commit the crime. And so I think that gave me a leg up on how to research the case, because I've always approached it as, in this instance, the cops and the DAs are the criminals. So that's always been my focus, is figuring out how they pulled it off. But there are just, like, on YouTube, there are hundreds of true crime podcasts on Apple, no matter where you turn around, there's a podcast somewhere. And, there's like a what's it called? True Crime Junkie Garage, murder in a glass of wine, murder in a beer, murder in a pizza, murder in there's, everybody's got their own spin on it. And like, all of them are interesting in their own right. And there's actually a serial killer app that you can download that has cases from you can pick a state or pick a country and learn about them. And Rhonda, I don't know how I didn't know this, but I didn't know you were from Utah. And one of the fascinating cases from Utah is it Troy Michael Kell? Is that his name?
Yes. Troy Kell.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He's been on death row for years. And
Mhm.
I I spent a couple of weeks researching his crazy ass for a while. He's a fascinating subject and a sick individual in his own right. And
Yep.
yeah, and I just recently learned he's decided to die by firing squad. So I've always, followed him. But
I think
this,
sorry if I may.
no,
I don't know when you got your last update on that, but I don't think they allow the firing squad in Utah anymore. I believe it's only lethal injection now.
uh-huh.
I'm trying to think of what the guy's name was. Gary Gilmore was the
Yeah,
last
that was,
person executed by firing squad.
yeah,
Um,
what I thought.
I'll double
But
check myself on that, but I believe Utah now is only lethal injection.
yeah, it's so, yeah, it said that he had chose firing squad. I don't know if maybe they've recently, because of the lethal injection drama surrounding it, because of the questionable places they're getting the medicine, maybe they've given them a different choice again. I don't know, but I know that that's how he said he wanted to die. But he's such a narcissist, isn't he? And
Yes,
just a foul human being. And
yes.
the crime that put him on death row, if you're to believe the girl's take of it, was that this girl had been assaulted, and him and another kid killed the man who assaulted her, right? Is that right? Am I right about that? If I
You
remember
know,
right.
Troy Kell's case is very interesting because he's got the original case that where he went to prison up in Draper, a little north of me, and then if I'm not mistaken, I think he got transferred to the prison down south of me in Gunnison, and there he actually killed another inmate.
Oh,
So
yeah, black inmate on the video.
yeah, so
That's right.
I haven't looked into Troy Kell's case in a really long time, but you know what? Christina's right. It's a very interesting case if you guys like picking psychological brains of killers. He's a good one.
Yeah.
But I'll see what I can find out about those things, and I'll let you guys know.
Okay. And the point of that being is I've always been fascinated, like Susan was saying, with the psyche of the murderer. Like, how do you convince yourself that it is okay to take another's life? And so that was always the draw for me, was to learn more about the murderer. And I'm not a junkie of, as far as like, I'm not going to write them. I don't care what they have to say because they're going to lie anyway. But I like seeing like how they grew up, what the crime that put them in prison, and then also what they've done since then. Because a lot of killers are really young when they commit their crime, and a lot of them will change, right? They'll try to make the best out of being condemned to in prison to die, and they will try and become better humans. But then there are those like Kel, who will, every time he has the opportunity, will harm other human beings, and have just solidified that they do not belong anywhere but in prison, period. And I'm anti-death penalty. I don't believe anyone should die for any reason. We could put them on some uninhabitable island and let them fend for themselves, for all I care, instead of spending millions of dollars on them. Um, but that's kind of what got me here. But I had never done a records request until this case. Actually, even though Freedom of Information Act has been a thing for many years now, I really didn't even know about it until Making a Murderer. I think for all of us, we've learned a lot more about ourselves and about the criminal justice system, thanks to this case, which was, like someone had mentioned, Laura and Maura's main goal was, to introduce people to how the criminal justice system works, and to try and advocate for change in the areas that so desperately need it. So
Christina,
anyway,
can I make a couple of corrections on some things I said?
yeah, for sure.
Really quick. So I was mistaken. I don't know how I forgot about this because I remember this happening so clearly. Ronnie Lee Gardner was actually the last one executed by firing squad in 2010. And then it was stopped. And then they didn't offer, it's a horrible thing to say, but firing squad was no longer an option. But in 2015, the governor signed a bill reinstating that firing squad could be used as an execution choice by the accused.
So it is allowed again.
It is allowed again.
And
Yeah, shame on me for not knowing that.
Well, we learn something new every day, so that's it. Yeah, and that's I mean, I guess if you have to choose a way to die, it's so much quicker than this cocktail of God only knows what that they are shooting inside of, someone's body. It's just crazy. It really is. I don't know what to think about our government procuring. I don't even want to call it medicine, procuring drugs from questionable sources. I mean, it sounds like drug dealing, doesn't it? It's just crazy. So besides Making a Murderer, what other cases do y'all follow right now? Anyone?
Yeah, a couple actually that I follow and
Yeah.
that I keep track of. Romaine Scott is one that I follow and try to keep up with. Then you've got Charlie Erickson.
I just found one that I seen on Twitter that this guy has been held in jail with no bail and no court date set or anything yet for 3 years now, and it really reminds me of the Khalif Boward case. And his name is Matthew Doucette, I believe.
Happens often too when that happens.
Yeah, and I just heard about it, and I thought, oh my gosh, I want to kind of find out more about this case.
What state is that?
Excuse me.
What state is that in?
Oh gosh, I can't remember. I don't know that much about it. I just found out about it. Ripper Jack had kind of tagged me in it and said you should check this out. And I just seen, I mean, the only thing I've been able to see on it yet is a 3-year-old video that talks about him not having bail. Nothing new on it. So it's really got me curious. I will put something in like Foul Play or something. I should be more prepared to talk about it and know more about it when I brought it up, but it was just something that caught me.
Yeah, there was a gentleman, I can't remember. I thought it was in Oregon or Washington, who was mentally ill, who was held for like 4 years, and before they finally an attorney found out about him and got him out. But I can't find that case anywhere. But I remember thinking about it.
That's why it happens a lot, actually. Like, even I remember hearing locally in the town I was living in at the time, in Prescott, in Arizona, there were a few people who were being held at the jail who hadn't gotten trials yet, and it's been years and years and years. And I guess that's common in America. I didn't realize how common that really was, but
That is crazy. It's
right, because basically being held without anything. You're just being held.
Yeah, and it's like, and if they don't have family, if there's no one on the outside, like it's literally like a black hole, right? You go and they'll put you somewhere, and no, society just doesn't even know to forget about you.
Right.
It's scary. I couldn't imagine that happening. And it's mainly people um who are who are mentally ill, so they're incapable of advocating for themselves. And
Yeah.
it's sad. It's so sad.
Right.
But yeah. So what were
Like
the
they're
cases?
saying in chat, TTM Fangirl says the Murray. I can't. It's the two
Yeah, that
names
was
I can't.
another. I was reading
Yeah,
that
and
too. That's another.
the Dolphide murders. That is really a mystery case right there. That is very, very. I followed that for a while, and
That
the
case right
Crystal
there.
Rogers case has been something that's been on my mind because they just recently had the FBI do some digging in some housing property that the boyfriend Jimmy Ballards, I believe his last name is, which was her boyfriend at the time. They just did some digging about a month ago, so I'm waiting to find out here about that too.
Yeah. What case is that?
The Crystal Rogers case.
I'm not familiar with that one. Who is she?
Oh, you'd like it. She went missing, and then her father just totally turned himself into finding out about this case. Well, there was a police officer killed that is a mystery to this, and also her father that was killed. That is a mystery to this. So there's like 3 different people that were killed because of this, trying to find this girl. And it's in Georgia, I believe.
Uh-huh.
Gosh, I wish I knew a little bit more about it. I mean, off my, my memory's a little bad. I kind of got to have things in front of me. But
Right.
yeah, the father was out hunting one day, and there was a spot where somebody could have come off the road and shot him, and that's what they think happened. And then the
Disco was
sheriff,
telling me about this.
who?
Disco.
Yeah, she should know about it then. Yeah, it's a good case.
That is an interesting case.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't like her boyfriend a cop or something?
Her boyfriend's brother-in-law. Well, her boyfriend's brother was. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and they just recently opened up something new and did some digging and found and found remains and something else of interest. So I'm really dying to know what happened.
Yeah, for sure.
Did they find her remains, Linda?
They did not say what the remains were yet, Susan. So I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that case also. And it's that her boyfriend is very suspicious.
Yeah, whatever was found by the recent dig was found on his property that he owned, that he was building homes on.
And it looks like his brother, the police officer, was involved, who ended up getting fired.
Yeah.
Because of what he did as far as his interrogation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, a weaving case that innocent people got brought into and killed, just to cover for this guy. And I think I think her boyfriend's guilty as hell. I'll say that right now.
Yeah. It sure looks that way.
Yeah. Although
I'm not sure if that other cop that was killed on the highway there, on that
I don't think he
ramp
was,
or whatever it was. I don't know if that's connected or not, but
yeah, we don't know, but it's like he was a good cop, and they did, you know what I mean? That's kind of what I got out of it. There's quite a few cases that are out there, so you could just go online and just type in cold case or something, and you'll find out
so many
different things. Yeah, and when I never knew any of this stuff was available for people, there's a lot more resources to check into cases, and even if it's just a hobby and you just want to like play Sherlock Holmes, and sit at home and do it, and not go to the depths that all of us have went through, and the things that we do to try to help prove and maybe make a difference in justice. There's a lot out there. There's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think about like the internet and how it has allowed anyone to become I don't want to say an expert, but to become knowledgeable in anything. Like there is, so I just found out about this thing called Skillshare. Are y'all familiar with this?
What was it?
Skillshare. It's called Skillshare.
Oh,
And
never heard of it.
Skillshare is a service. And what it is that people who have a skill to teach, they all have videos, and you have the ability to interact with them as well on this platform called Skillshare. Now, it's kind of pricey for any of us on a budget, and I think we all are. I think it's like $90 a year. But you get like the first 2 months are free, and you can do anything from learn how to work a computer to like how to use resin, like to do art. I mean, you name something you want to learn to do, and there is a class. There are people on this platform teaching a class on it. And what's convenient for those of us who can't afford the service is that most of these people already have videos on how to do these things on YouTube. YouTube is a phenomenal tool, like to learn how to do anything. And it is amazing, like how to research, like we were talking about earlier before the podcast, how to make a thumbnail for a YouTube video, how to make a YouTube video, how to, you know what I'm saying? So it's for like I used to use YouTube all the time to like help my husband, like say he has a car because he does mechanic work, and like he'd have a mechanic job on the side on a car he's never worked on before. And I would Google like how to do whatever. So it would show him, so he wouldn't spend the first 2 hours figuring out how this car works. He could see how that engine setup was. And so, but Skillshare is a really neat platform. And so if anyone that has an interest in something, they should really look into it, because all kinds of things out there. So it's very helpful. I it's funny that you type in like we were talking about like the murder cases we're researching right now, and you can type in like what's the most popular murders to research right now and there's an answer for it online.
You're the most popular. That's funny.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of strange. But yeah, I agree with you. The tutorials on YouTube are absolutely marvelous. They have helped me do lots of things, learn different techniques of painting and, all kinds of things. Learn how to write a letter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just anything really. And, anything at all. So, I'm sure that the younger generation, because they grew up, with social media being present in their lives from the beginning, they already know the benefits of that. But for those of us who didn't, yeah, it's definitely a resource, for sure. It's like you have a library, and I used to love the library as a child. It's like you have a library at your fingertips with the internet. I mean, anything. Do you remember what was the name of the CD that came with the computer? Uh, remember the encyclopedia CD? What was the name of that damn thing? I used to spend hours in front of the computer reading like the encyclopedia on my computer.
Was it Britannia?
Like I think it what I don't, I'll have to remember. Yeah, but anyway, I found that the most fascinating thing, and then last night I was thinking about it, that the freaking internet's the encyclopedia now, right? I mean, there's just that you can do anything and everything. Like Google Earth Pro, so cool, free, so such a cool tool. Just anything at all. It's
It's so
fascinating.
far beyond an encyclopedia.
Yeah, it really is. It makes the encyclopedia look like, a kindergarten book now. And I remember
Exactly.
yeah, and the encyclopedia when I was a child was like the world at my fingertips, right? Because I just wanted to know everything. So, and now I've recognized the power of the internet. So it's very
It was sold by door-to-door salesman, the encyclopedia, when I was
Mhm.
a kid. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
can still
they came
remember the
around
color.
and you get this edition for this much, and then they'll send you the next. And yeah, I remember that.
Yep. I remember the color of the one my mom still has hers. The one my mom bought us as kids. She had this book called Back to Basics. It was like, do you remember Reader's Digest? Like we used to get the Reader's Digest as kids. And there
Yep.
was a book they put out called Back to Basics. And basically it was a hardback book that showed you like how to live off the grid. I didn't
Yeah.
recognize it as that, but it is so cool. And I want one so bad. Like you could do anything from how to make a gravity well to like first aid with homeopathic medicine. It was just the coolest thing.
You
So,
can get that all on YouTube now or Google.
mhm.
On YouTube.
Yep, yep, and that's what this is. That's what the internet and social media is. It's definitely a platform, and and um and it's so amazing that I'm sitting here like having a conversation and talking to people all around the world. And every day that I do that, I'm so thankful for that because I'm like, and I'm not even 50 yet, but I come from a small town. So the idea of talking to like Zoe in Slovenia and Linda
Yeah.
in Minnesota all at the same time, it's a very, very it's very awesome. I'm
It
very
is.
grateful for it.
It's
And
great to share the different thoughts.
yeah,
I really
and I
appreciate that.
think yeah,
You
and
said
I
in the
think
beginning that
uh-huh.
what do we think this has done for do you I mean, I have a question, I guess. What it
Okay.
is all this crime talk and all that we do and minded we all do this for free. So it is our obsessions and we are like literally jonesing out or getting our fix doing this. But do you think that it has brought more awareness um to try to change it, or do you think it's just like a fad? You know how people get into like disco dancing, and then there's true crime, and then there's what I mean, like fads.
I I think so for me personally, I think that actually let's let somebody else answer it and then I'll say what I think
Okay.
because if that's okay. Becca, what do you think? Oh,
Becca,
no.
she must
All
have
right.
stepped away.
Here's what I think. I guess I'll just say it. So I spent about a half hour last night, like looking and Googling the true crime genre and seeing. And so I think that when Making a Murderer came out,
She said,
so
"Come back to her."
yeah, so I think Serial, do y'all remember the Serial podcast? Did anybody ever listen to that?
Is that
Um,
Yes,
the
it was
Ahmad?
fascinating.
Um,
yes.
okay, yeah,
Okay, that's
I never
Fascinating.
listened to it, but I've heard of the case.
all right. It's the Adnan Syed case, right? I believe. Isn't that correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay, and that woman's voice was just it just made you want to listen to the case. And even though me personally, I think he's probably like 95% guilty, but I still wanted to listen. She just was able to tell the story in such a way that you wanted to listen to it. And so that was kind of a catalyst for the timing of Making a Murderer, because then you have this case where you spend, 10 hours watching, and you just think that at the end it's going to work out, and you're like emotionally just frigging devastated that these men are still in prison, and 20 million people watched it in 6 months. Okay, I've looked to try and see how many have watched it since, and there's no data on that I can find. But so if 20 million people watched it in 6 months, and that just opened up the door for everyone, because if 20 million people watched it, they're talking about it to 10 people, right? One person talks about it to 10, those 10 talk about it to another 10, and there are those of us that are just hooked. We want to fix it, because I'm a fixer by nature. I want to fix the situation. And then you want to find out how it happened. And that's me as well, because I want to know why. I'm one of those kids who got her ass beat because I never stopped asking why about anything. Why I had to do that, why that worked that way, why we had to go there. You know what I mean? No matter what it was, I wanted to know why. I had to understand it. And I'm not the only person in the world that thinks that way. And so then you have, because of social media, a way for us all to get together and talk about it. And we all have perspectives. And the worst thing for Calumet, Manitowoc, and the state of Wisconsin is that there are so many brains and so many eyes watching this case and looking at what was done and showing the world that they lied from the start to the finish. And we as humans don't like for things like that to not get fixed, right? So that's why 6 years later, we're all still here. We want shit to be put back right. That's what I think. Teresa deserves justice, and Stephen and Brendan deserve to walk out of prison. That's the way the world is supposed to work. And if it's not working that way, we want to make it work that way. So that's my thinking. Hello? Uh-oh. I guess, Linda, why did you mute?
I'm back.
Okay. So
What was the question again?
why you think that everybody muted on me? I was like, oh no.
I was rushing back as fast as I could. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So Linda was just wondering why, it's why we're still all here. Like what is the staying power for it? And I gave her my version, and then she muted. So I don't know if I didn't answer her question right. I hope I did.
I think, why are we still here?
Yeah. Why?
Well, for me,
Mm-hmm.
the why I'm still involved in Making a Murder is because of Brendan. I consider him a friend now. He considers me a friend, and I'm just doing what I can for a friend at this point. I also have this. I don't know if I would call it realistic view, but kind of a daydreaming view that somehow changing the system and making it better. Because Brendan's changing the world. Just by unfortunately existing at this point, but like just by being involved in all this, his story is reaching thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people. I mean, they made new laws based off of his story in other states to prevent for what happened to him, from happening to another person. So, guess I'm still here because I'm not only am I friends with him, but it's just to be a part of something bigger than me, to try to make a difference, to try to make positive changes in our system, and try to, in my role, I feel is very small in things. I guess I just feel like even though my role is small in things, or that anybody else's roles might be small in things, even the small things sometimes build up to be bigger things. So one of the things I like to do, for instance, every year is I send out Christmas cards to everybody I know. And I also have a list of wrongfully convicted people, and some who aren't, some who are rightfully convicted and are in prison, who don't have family. And I send them a Christmas card. And it's things like that that I believe in, that even though it's small, it kind of helps and builds up to something bigger.
We all matter, right? We
Right.
all
Well,
matter.
that's, yeah.
Yeah. It all matters, just like Stacy's song when we were talking.
Right. Yeah.
And I said it matters, it all matters, and he went and made a song of it. And it's a beautiful song. It really has
I was
great
thinking, that's funny you mentioned Stacy Seabrook. When Susan was talking about the song she wrote, I was thinking that they should do, I don't know if Susan sings as well, but either they do a duet or Stacy sings her song. Yeah.
You do not want to hear me sing. No.
Susan sings this song absolutely perfect.
You cannot, yeah, trust me, you cannot sing worse than I do.
You could sing like me. And I sound like a female Barry White. Okay, let's get real.
Yeah. Well, hey, I like Barry White.
But the female version isn't so nice. But I think TTM Fangirl's comment really needs to be read. I don't know who can read it, who can see it.
I think we all crave fairness, no matter what your social status, race, gender, whatever, SA and BD. Just not fair trials, no matter what you think guilty or innocent.
Mm-hmm, that's right. And I think Making a Murderer made them real, right? By showing the suffering that their families are going through, by showing it allowed us to personally connect. And that is at the heart of it. That is what the guilters hate. The guilters want Stephen and Brendan to be looked at as these evil, vile creatures, and who cares about them? But they're human beings. Even if they were guilty, and they're not, but even if they were, they're still human beings, and their family has still been impacted. And it's so I think about I'm, like I said, I'm newer than a lot of you OGs who have been researching this case since Making a Murderer came out. But I still feel that there was a reason that Maura and Laura went to film this documentary. And I just don't believe that those men are meant to die behind prison walls. I just don't.
Well, it's all about criminal justice reform. And TTM's talking about fair trials. And we have to get rid of the immunity for
qualified
prosecutors. Yes, for prosecutors. We just need to have a much more fair system than we have. The forensics,
Get rid of that though, Susan. Do you realize how many? If you get rid of their immunity, do you realize how many wrongful convictions won't be, because they'll be held accountable for what they've put in front of a judge?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the forensics really need to be looked at the organization that Buting and Strang, or is it just Buting,
The way they're tested, the way
have
they're handled.
started? Yeah,
Oh,
and
independent. What's it called?
Blind
independent.
I
testing.
think
Yeah.
both of them do. I think both of them are part of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's just
Independent
just
forensic testing.
basics that need to be changed
Yep,
for
I agree.
fairness.
And
Yeah.
it's simple to do. It's, you know what I mean? It would not.
It is simple.
And for Wisconsin to fight so tooth and nail to do so, it says a lot about them. It really does.
Yeah.
You know, they have zero interest in reforming their criminal justice system. When
Look at the
others,
crimes to follow.
when
You can look
like,
at Michael Bell. You can, you know, he brought a little bit of change of some integrity unit, but even that I don't trust. But, you know, just even the recent ones that Wisconsin have had, pretty sketchy stuff for Wisconsin.
oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, I mean, you know, many of you know about the juvenile court judge that I'm also looking at, who, you know, got that laughable 5-year prison sentence for those horrific videos he had. And the just the
They
and
just
then
all
you
got
look at,
each other's backs, like, you
yeah,
know.
it's like it is the definition of white privilege. He got a 5-year sentence. And then you look at the young man that Becca was telling me about, who accidentally, at 18, low IQ, accidentally shot and killed his friend in a drunken, stupid gun. You know, he admitted to the crime. He got 20 friggin' years. And,
Yeah.
you know, the disconnect there is just, it's ridiculous.
And
They
I'm just
make
going to give you a
examples.
reminder, Christine, that I think Zoe has to wrap this up pretty quick.
Okay. All right. Well, then why don't we go ahead and say our goodbyes? I think we've been on for about an hour anyway. So I want to say I hope Jax feels better. He's a little under the weather. And I thank everyone for coming. Do y'all want to say goodbye and talk about what y'all got coming up? Check Linda and Becca. Because, like,
The only thing really, other than our usual Friday, we do Positively Brendan Friday on Brendan Talks.
mhm.
We also have a ugly sweater contest going on. Brendan is going to be the judge on. If anybody wants to join, yeah,
What do you
he's
Get your
really
ugly sweaters.
yeah,
mhm.
he's
What do
really
you?
excited about this. This is the kind of
Yeah.
stuff that I try to do, by the way, is I try to
Get him
things that
involved.
help distract him from, you know, like where the reality of where he's at. Like, let's focus on something fun and positive, and
Yeah.
And tell
that's
how
kind
adept
of
he is. He's gotten categories and
yeah. He's really excited
really
about
going
this.
into it.
So what do we have to
Okay.
do to participate? How do we participate?
Get an ugly
Um,
sweater and take a picture and put it on the event page on Facebook, or put it.
which I can't post the link to, by the way. I can't. But
I can do
if
that.
if you have the event page link and then post it in the chat, and then everyone, and there's prizes, and on December 14th, I'm going to be printing out those pictures with the names and then sending it to him, and he's going to pick, you know, whichever one for whichever category. And
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
And when's the cutoff again?
December 14th is the cutoff for it. And then, yeah, also like a little plug, we have a Facebook group too, Brendan Talks Facebook group, where I do this kind of stuff and you guys can keep up to date with. It's Brendan Talks
Okay.
Facebook.
Okay, let me get. Here we go. I'm linking it now. I'm putting it down in here. Hopefully that link will work. I would hope so.
All right.
It's for the Facebook group event. Goes right to the event page, and yeah. Let me check it. And yes, it goes right to it. I did it. So there you go, guys.
Yay.
There's the event page for the ugly sweater. Please participate. Brendan is really going all out on this for the categories and just placements and what prizes should be and the whole shebang. So it'd be really great.
Okay. Yeah. I'll definitely go try and find one.
Make one.
Yeah. Yeah, like I've been telling a lot of people, any kind of sweater you find it's Christmassy, even if you think it's a really cute and pretty sweater, because there's a category for it. So, if you I've been telling people too, you can go to like the thrift store and find like a really cheap, sweater and then dress it up yourself and make it look ugly. So there's
That's what
sky's
I
the
put
limit
on.
to whatever you guys want to do.
Right.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. That sounds good. Linda, you got anything else coming up?
Nope, just that with Brendan. That's it.
Okay.
And Jax, please get better.
Yes, for sure. Susan? Not Susan. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Ron. Yep. Susan, what you got going on?
Oh, I don't have any YouTubes, but I'll just say send my best to Jack and hope he's feeling better.
Okay.
I have to run in just a couple of minutes and take my granddaughter to school, but I just want to say real quick, because Moxie has to pee, so that is the most important thing. But I'll be going live today at my regular time, 5 p.m. Central. And today, for those of you who are familiar with this in any way, shape, or form, we're going to have a discussion about disgraced former judge Timothy Henderson in Daniel's trial. So that'll be 5 p.m. Central.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, I thank everyone for joining us today here in the chat. And my thoughts are with Alice, and I hope Jax gets better. And we will see you next Wednesday. And thanks so much, Zoe, for streaming this for me. We'll see you then.
You're very much welcome. Take care, guys.
This has been a Foul Play production.
There you go. Oh, yeah.